Good evening, Warriors, and welcome into another edition of the R&R Sports Report. I'm your host, Randy Isbell. With me, as always, for, I would say the 98th time, but there's been times that one of us ain't here. But for the 98th show, Mr. Robert Hagan.
What's up? It is, you and I just go in so many different directions. It's crazy to think, but dude, what a busy weekend. I am so jacked for this weekend. We got football, and I see you dressed to pick the correct team this year.
It's pink.
Yeah,
It's salmon-y pink. It ain't red.
It looks red. As you got to rep the Lewis and Clark's game, Battle of the Bridges this weekend.
No. It will not be named that on this show. It's just a Lewis and Clarkson game. It's a rivalry game. It's not Battle of the Bridges. We're not painting a bridge purple or red at the end of it. We're not battling over anything. Stop it.
Unfortunately, besides everything else that's going on, we got that. Let's see what else.
Volleyball. First home games this weekend.
Yeah, first home games there. We've got some upcoming fight talk. We'll talk a little bit of some MMA fighting going on. What do we got? That's right. First week of NFL football. We'll give our Thursday night prediction. We're excited for that. And I haven't shared it with you. I'm kind of excited for my first WWE house show. I'm going to Spokane on Saturday to go catch the I agree. It's not what it used to be, but going up to catch WWE's house show in Spokane this week. So
I think he was talking about the Battle of the Bridges thing.
He is. It's not anything like what it used to be.
No.
I remember sleeping on the field. I remember, don't quote me with this, I remember burning.
Last year.
Huh?
That was last year. The Bengals gave your Bantams.
Oh, no. I mean, we were protecting our field. I remember burning the C into Lewiston Bengal Field. I remember hanging tigers over the bridge. Oh, yeah, it's not what it used to be.
You're just a giant vandal. That's what you are. We'll talk about the Vandals and their surprisingly close game with the Cougars. Like you said, we have week 1 of the NFL. First home games for volleyball. We're going to have Cassidy Nelson on the show at the top of the next hour. We're going to give you all of our postseason and awards for the NFL. There's still baseball going on.
All hail the judge.
He's been ridiculous. But we have an announcement. Well, we've had an announcement. I forgot to tally the votes, but it doesn't matter.
I haven't.
Because there's a bunch of jerks out there, and one of them is somebody we're going to bring on and talk about this. These guys have been so excited about this whole situation. But yes, we did hit 600 followers. It was weird. We were at like 590-ish for like 2 months and just we refused to make a move. And then within 2 days, we gained like 5 or 6 and blew it out of the water.
And some names, I even went and looked at some of the names. I don't recognize some of the names. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
We're getting the product out. We're doing what we love to do. But it's just crazy. I'm like, I don't know that person, which is like awesome. But now our buddies,
bring them in.
Our buddies up at Martial Arts America, they're excited because now they get to basically beat the crap out of us, I guess.
I don't like the smile we're getting off screen already. It's just
this dude, he's ready to go. I'm going to let you do it. And we're going to welcome in our buddy, Dimitri Morales. Dimitri, what's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Scared. We're scared.
Very much so. And especially, you're the youngest one out of that, one of the youngest ones out of that group. I don't think I want to go anywhere near the mat with you at any time.
I'd say I'm the nicest guy on the team. I'd be the guy you're least scared of. That's for sure.
I don't know. As much as Brian and Jared both been laughing about this whole thing, I think they're ready for both of us to. As you can tell, I'm stuttering. I don't want to get in the ring.
It's scary. I mean, it is a MMA gym, so yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I've been talking to a few people about how this show was going to be very difficult for me because I knew at least one of you were going to be on. We're trying to get a couple, but I know schedules are busy and stuff. But I was joking with them. I was like, we have to be entertaining for 2 hours, and especially with you guys on, and we want to have fun and joke around. But I'm afraid I'm going to say something and then we're going to show up, and you're going to turn it against me and say, "Remember
Never.
when you said this?" As then you twist me in some kind of weird ass pretzel, and I'm not young anymore, and I don't bend. That's what I worry about.
It might happen. It might happen.
Right.
So talk about that, Dimitri. Like we just said a minute ago, you're one of the youngest ones. So give us some pointers. The first time you ever got into the octagon and that, I mean, it had to be just totally a different feeling to get in with somebody you didn't know.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking for sure. I wasn't scared of the guy, but it's more the crowd, the outcome, what's going to happen to you. I don't know. I'm not scared of that guy, but it's just, yeah. It's just nerve-wracking.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about is what's going to happen to me.
What's going to happen?
I'm not worried about
exactly.
a crowd, even though I've had so many volunteers to show up and become a crowd. Because I don't need a crowd. This is not what this is for. We're going to record it and have some fun with it. But
I've already heard, the wife has already called our buddy and has messaged a couple of our friends who are paramedics to be on standby. She's laughing more about me getting beat up and needing a paramedic there. I even told my kids at school, I said, if I show up with a black eye this day, it was for a good cause. So I guess that's
Blame it on Brian.
Yeah. I think Brian's extremely excited for this more than anybody.
Oh, he is. He really is.
So, I mean, our numbers have grown because of you guys. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about what some things happening up there at Martial Arts America. I know Austin's got a lot of things going on, lots of classes. What kind of things you guys got going on up there right now?
Well, we got a new BJJ class. We've been doing it for about a year, but it's the newest class we have. And we are bringing a lot of new adults, a lot of new families, and there's more kids. Our gym's the biggest it's ever been. It's growing, and it's growing fast. Pretty sure we have a waiting list on kids karate. It's just growing, and Austin's doing a great job of that, helping it grow.
What do you give credit for that, for it becoming bigger and bigger throughout the last couple of years?
I think it's the MMA team's a big part of it. I mean, we're getting our name out there. It's our name's going in the newspaper, and we're all very respectful people. And I think we represent our gym well, and it spreads the word throughout the town.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you talk about it, and I know Brian talks about it because I have dealings with Brian all the time working, at the high school. He talks it up down there. You've got a great following, a huge following. We'll talk about your sponsors in a few minutes, but you have a huge group of people that follow you. And I think, and I have to say it starts with your mom. Your mom is probably your biggest supporter and doing different things. It's got to be your youth that's helping drive this new scene for Lewis Clark Valley.
Yeah, I never thought I'd have this big of a following. I got my whole class, the whole high school knows who I am. I got my mom. My mom's my biggest supporter. She's been my biggest supporter since day one. She'll always be the number one. And it's crazy. My name just got out there from the first fight to the last fight I've had, and it's awesome. It's motivating. It's my biggest motivator.
Well, talk about your sponsors a little bit. As I don't know if Randy saw this. I saw this the other day. You have your trunks getting made from your sponsors. You've got some big sponsors that are backing you in your first couple of big fights.
Yeah, I got about 8 sponsors right now. I think I'm gonna keep it at that. I need space on all the merch, my shorts, my shirts, or else I'd have probably 15 sponsors if I could. But they help a lot. They allow me to do what I love. And I'm training a lot. I don't have that much time to work. I do work, but I train a lot. So they help support me with money. They help me get new gear. They help pay for personal training. They're awesome for sure.
So obviously Austin is promoting a big fight in November, and I know Robert is excited to go watch that. Hopefully I'll be able to make things work and get out there myself, but go ahead and just kind of talk about that event and promote it a little bit. I know tickets just went on sale last week, right?
Yep. So November 5th, Lucin, Idaho, at the Clearwater Casino. Me and my whole team. We have a lot of guys fighting, and big names: Jared Fisher, Brian McIlroy. We got myself, Connor White. There's a lot of new guys that are fighting, but I'll be fighting 135 pounds against a pretty good dude. He's tall, he's lengthy, and I'm just excited to get in there and put it on this guy in front of the home crowd's really they're gonna go off when I put on the performance I'm gonna put on, and I'm excited to do that.
And with that being said, you've got a lot of people that are there backing you, and that. How many can we expect on the card? I know, like you were saying too, tickets have already went crazy. I've got a seat right behind. I was talking with your mom the other day, right behind your mom and dad, so right back
Heck
there.
yeah.
But lots of tickets going on. How many bouts are we looking at for that one? Do we know yet?
I am not 100% sure. Probably around the same. Probably a couple more, maybe 12 around there.
So after Robert gets this training in here in a couple weeks, how do we get him on the pre-show?
We gotta talk to Austin about that, but I'm in. I'm in for that one.
That'd be awful scary about me out in front of that many people in at the casino with as many people as I know in this valley. Man,
That'd be so cool though. That'd be awesome.
I don't know about that. Listen, so Clearwater Combat, that's coming up November 5th. After Clearwater Combat, where does Dimitri Morales see things taking a step? Are we going spreading out a little bit? Like I've talked with Brian just a little bit. Brian's wanting to spread his wings a little bit, get out in the Pacific Northwest. Is that kind of the same thing that you're looking at doing?
Yeah, November 5th, I want to go in there and get the win. And after that, I want to fight again soon and then make my pro debut. I think rack up a couple wins and turn pro and get out there like Brian said. Yeah, I think I'll be ready for that.
It's awesome.
I'm so excited for this. Let me rephrase that. I am so excited for Clearwater Combat. As far as the stuff that's going to be happening with us, what do you boys have planned for Randy and I?
Oh, I think it's a secret. It's a secret. You guys should have to wait and see. Wait and see.
So we are still working on exactly when. We will let everyone know on the Facebook page when we will go do that. Obviously, schedules, especially for you guys right now, are just absolutely insane.
Wow, yeah.
And I know Robert's got a bunch. He's coaching middle school football, and he has all those games. So we will get it in as soon as possible. It's just trying to match everyone's schedule will be fun. We're not dodging this by any means. So anybody out there that's going, they haven't done it yet. No. For one, we're not dodging it. For two, those guys won't let us.
No.
Robert created a group chat, and I have never seen a group of grown-ass men so excited in my life.
Between Jared and Brian, it just looked like it was just crazy. So, well, Dimitri, we know you're training and probably got practice tonight and everything going on. So we're gonna let you duck out, but guys, go follow Dimitri Morales. November 5th, Clearwater River Casino. Make sure you go buy your tickets. They are going extremely fast. I got mine like at 12:30, and I've already seen on Friday when they went out. Tickets are going extremely quick, so make sure you go purchase them. Go support Dimitri, the whole MMA. Closing thoughts, sir?
I'll be ready. I'm excited to put on a performance for you guys.
We're excited for you, Dimitri. Thank you so much, and
we
will be seeing you soon.
Heck yeah.
Not with as many smiles as on our face. Well, our faces. You guys will be smiling the whole way. we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's Dimitri Morales. Thanks, buddy. From Martial Arts America. Dude, I'm scared like really bad. This is gonna be nuts. I just feel like between Brian and Jared and Dimitri, they're gonna lay the smack down,
Right? I mean, they're gonna just put on different clinics, and honestly, it could even just be not even doing drills, just like that. the endurance stuff, I think, is what's going to kill you and not me more than anything else. The other stuff's going to suck, and they're going to put it in there and make for some great content. But
hey, and you've got the same messages I have. I know I've been getting all kinds of messages. Can we come and watch? Can we come and be up there? And yes, we're going to record it. We'll record it. We will be live probably with it while we record it.
I don't know about live.
It might get a little ugly, but
just in case, I need to go back through and censor things because I'm sure some 4-letter words are going to be flying while they torture us for however long this goes on. But we're going to have a lot of fun, and we appreciate those guys very much. We love promoting them, and they've helped us grow as well. And anytime they want to come on and chat, obviously schedules have made it difficult. We've been trying to get Austin on for a while, but he always has classes on Tuesday night. So maybe we just need to sit down and do a pre-recorded thing and do that for you guys. But we appreciate Austin and his crew very, very much. All right, let's move on. We got high school football. Let's kind of go through last week before we get into the Lewiston Clarkston game. And, Moscow and Pullman have a pretty big rivalry game this weekend as well. But let's look back. It was basically week 2 for most of the Idaho schools. Washington schools getting kicked off. And I'll put up my little thing that I stole from our Tribune video that I helped put together. But the game of the week that we thought was going to be the most interesting, and it turned out to possibly the most entertaining game. Kendrick defeating Oakley 52-48. You had Kendrick, who is a defending state champion. Oakley, who is a 2-time defending state champion at their level. Kendrick, who got shut out by Oakley last year, comes out, gets revenge, wins that one 52-48. Kai Cap had 7 total touchdowns in the game, including the touchdown pass to Jagger Hewitt late in that game, about 42 seconds left. And that one to get the win. What a big step it was for the Tigers.
Yeah, excited what that team is all about. Coach Hobart, what he has brought to that program, just his youth and his fire. You could see what he has brought to this team. I'm excited to go and try to catch a couple of games on a bye night for us and for Clarkson. And we've got some changes with time on a couple of these games because of officials. We'll talk a little bit. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm excited to get out and take a trip up to Kendrick and watch these guys compete.
We're getting so many schedule changes for both volleyball and football that are just not enough referees, and schools doing everything they can to get these games going on. However, I will say, obviously, go out and support local football. If you are in the Valley, find a way to get over there to Clarkston for the Lewis and Clarkston game. If you're up north a little bit, go check out the Moscow Pullman game for sure. But if you're out of the area or you just can't get away, you're like me and I have to work Friday because I have to cover all these other games where the coaches call in, Idaho Sports is doing a fantastic job on their website, putting on a couple of games in the area each week. I believe I would believe there's commentary, but I'm usually at work when I watch. They had the Capital Lewiston game last week. I know they had Kendrick Oakley, but I was away from my house, so I couldn't check it out there. I believe there's commentary on it as well, but the camera work is really good. NFHS is another great source to check those out, but the last time I've been checking things, the internet, especially the Tribune, just refuses to run that thing, and some of the schools are still having some issues with it. But Idaho Sports does a fantastic job of getting you at least 1 or 2 games per week to go check out. Speaking of Lewis, they defeat Capital 52-21. We'll talk about their record-setting performance that they had there here in a little bit. Clarkston, their season debut, shutting out Moscow, who's not had the easiest of starts, as they had Kellogg, who has been fantastic so far, and then Clarkston, who we thought was going to take a good step forward after only losing a couple of seniors last year, and the Bantams put it to them 47-0.
Yeah, it was a great game there. A huge crowd for the Clarkson Bantams and what they were able to do. Steinwan looked good. He did come up a little gimp on one play, went out and didn't miss a beat. Hayden Line comes in, the sophomore runs the ball once and has a really good pass play, but they spread the ball around quite well. So I'm very impressed with what Coach Bai and what Carter Steinwater is doing, dispersing the ball. But I tell you, the guy that you need to watch, and that's going to be Akaika Milan, running back for the Bantams. He was all over the place running the ball. And also on the defensive side, playing linebacker, he had a couple of big tackles and especially a couple for loss. So I'm excited what this team can do. It's going to be a tough battle for them this week.
We'll break that down in the next hour when we do our predictions. Again, last week we were able to do the Beat the Experts style pick 'em with the Tribune. They're posting them tomorrow. I haven't had access to them. I'll see them tonight. It's a little late for us to be able to do it on the show. So I made my own, but of course, Lewis and Clarkson's on there. We'll break that all down. But I was more impressed with the Bantams' rush defense against Moscow, holding them to negative yards in that game. And they're going to go up against a Lewiston team who, again, broke some records on Friday. So that's going to be a great match. Going through some of the other smaller schools in the area, Liberty shut out Asotin in their first game, 34-0. It was interesting. They started an hour late trying to beat the heat and some of the smoke that has been going on in the area before we had that rain this weekend. Pomeroy looks just as good as they have been. They shut out Orfino 42-0. They lost a lot of seniors last year, but they're starting to pick things up. Our buddy Richie, who still follows that team, obviously his son had just graduated and his other son is a year away, but he goes and supports that team, says they're not quite what they were last year, but they could be a bit dangerous. Lapway, nice bounce back, dominating win against Timberline, 82-18. That game was on Thursday due to official problems. Prairie also with a nice bounce back win. They defeat Troy 68-32. Clearwater Valley now 2-0 on the year. They beat Logos 68-58. And the last game we got in the Tribune, score-wise, Potlatch defeating Genesee 90-40. You got to love 8-man football, right?
Now it's just unbelievable to watch what these guys do shorthanded. I went up and called the game last year with Kendrick and watching them play. It just, how do you handle 8-man? I mean, you're going to spread the defense way out and just pound the ball up the middle.
But there's different ways. I mean, there's teams like Prairie that stack everybody up and still do a running style offense and then try to wear you down, and then they'll break things open. Or teams like Clearwater Valley love to open things up. Potlatch went absolutely nuts on Friday. I want to go through some of the peak performances that I noticed while covering things down at the Tribune. But we talked about Ty Kep and his 7 touchdowns. It was really interesting with Jagger Hewitt, who ended up with 11 catches because they had another wide receiver go out with 8 stitches in the first quarter. But Ty Kep has been just absolutely fantastic for the Tigers. Talked about the Bengals. Ethan Shaw, Drew Hottinger, and Jackson Lathan all topped 100 yards rushing for Lewiston. Shaw with 134, Hottinger 104, and Lathan with 102. It's the first time in Lewiston history that 3 rushers have topped the 100-yard mark. And the last time even 2 of them had reached 100 yards was back in 1996. Of course, I'd like to thank Danny Grubb for that stat as he was helping us out at the Tribune on Friday. Terrell Ellenwood Jones for Lapway had 326 all-purpose yards and 7 touchdowns, doing a great job of replacing Titus Year out at the quarterback position for the Wildcats. Clearwater Valley's Bass Myers had 15 carries, 275 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And Potlatch's Wyatt Johnson had 17 carries for 229 yards and 4 touchdowns. So a lot of huge performances. Which one really stands out to you?
Listen, as much as I hate saying Lewiston, I'm just so impressed. 3 running backs, 100-yard games. That is just crazy. As much as Kep has been doing for Kendrick, I think to have a 3-headed monster in Lewiston to hand the ball to whoever to run the ball, it's going to be huge for these guys, especially going forward later in the season, taking on Lakeside, Lake City.
And really, it's a 4-headed monster. Tight end James White, I didn't put it in our notes, but tight end James White had 77 rushing yards on Friday. So they're finding unique ways to run the ball. They're running a smaller school style offense where they're not passing the ball very much, but they do have good receivers, and they use those receivers in kind of their mix match rushing game. Good defense. Hottinger needs to not turn the ball over as much as he has the first couple of games, but they're off to a good start. That game at Clarkson, I'm jealous that I don't get a B2, but of course I have to go call some LC volleyball. I'm very excited for that, but I'll be checking out probably about the second half down at work. But it's going to be a pretty good atmosphere over there in Clarkson.
Yeah, it always will be. If you have not yet purchased your tickets, make sure you do so. Go to the high schools. $5. It saves you $5 at the gates. Make sure you go do that. But
yeah, and it's going to be packed. It's been 4 years since it's been at Clarkson. They had to miss 2020 due to all the COVID stuff. So Clarkson is ready to go. You're talking about Coach Bai and possibly trying to get him on. He has been itching for this game every time I talk to him about it.
And that's the thing. I think what he's really excited about is, what he's got in Carter Steinwan, what he's got in Nieves on the outside receiver. And again, Kaika Milan, he could easily, and I say this and it's not a bias, but he could easily be the running back of the 2A GSL this year if he can keep things going well. Also, you look at Christian Howell. Christian struggled a little bit in that game against Moscow with cramping up, but when it's 105 out at 5:00, it gets down to about 100 at game time. It was about 120 in the press box. So, but one thing, and I talked with Christian after the game, him and Dustin Beck, both receivers for the Bantams, and that was their biggest thing is they felt like they were just extremely gassed and cramping up just because of the temperatures. So it should be a little bit more comfortable weather on Friday as the Bantam game happens over there. I believe we're looking at a high of just like 84. So game time should be about 78 degrees. So none of that should be an issue, but it's going to be a busy night there.
All right, we got a good amount of people watching live, so we appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Was there a game that we missed out of the local slate, a performance that we did not know? Let us know. But for now, sir, you said you were taking it easy on me for Who Am I this week.
I am.
Every time you say that, it's brutal. So let's see how it goes here for part one of Who Am I.
Well, I tell you what, I bet you if our main man statistician is listening, he is probably going to get it right away. And I know you and Denny are talking back and forth probably right now as we speak, but here you go.
I'm trying to update your baseball stats because you did that yesterday.
I did do them yesterday. So I am from Louisiana. I played 2 sports in high school. I set the national record for throwing javelin in high school at 74.68 meters or 245 feet. My junior season in college, I ranked number 1 in passing yards in NCAA at nearly 2,900 yards. And my senior year, I ranked 3rd with just over 2,300 yards, only because my team led in most of the contests and I didn't get to play the second halves. That's all you get for the first one.
Yeah, you're always mean in the first one. But we will get there as the show goes along. For those that are new to the show, Robert goes through a bunch of information on a player. I try to guess who he is, and then if I don't get it, we'll do it again at about 7:00 and again at 7:30. And still, if I'm unable to get it, and none of you have been nice enough to tell me the answer, we'll do it right at the end of the show, and then Robert will make fun of me for getting it wrong. All right, let's get into some Major League Baseball. Baseball is still going on. We're getting down to it. We'll go through the scoreboard. First up, Twins and Yankees rained out today. They'll make it up in a doubleheader tomorrow. One game is final. The Tampa Bay Rays, who are hanging in there with the Yankees, they defeat the Boston Red Sox 8-4. Going on right now, Pirates defeating the Mets 6-2 in the 8th. Marlins and Phillies tied at 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Maybe why we have not heard from Denny Grubb just yet. The Orioles are in a crazy one with the Blue Jays. Orioles put up a 5-run third inning and hold on to a 5-4 bottom of the 5th inning. That one. Cubs. Oh, excuse me. There he is. Told you. He's just waiting. We just have to say Orioles, and then Denny shows up. We had not said Orioles yet. Bob Barker the answer? Is that what Haley was going for? Interesting. All right.
It is not Bob Barker.
I don't know what's going on there. Reds and Cubs tied at 3 at the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals leading the Nationals 3-1 in the 5th. Guardians over the Royals 2-1 in the 5th. Rangers surprising the Astros right now 3-2. That one's in the bottom of the 4th. I will just take it right now that the Astros are going to come back and win that game. Brewers leading the Rockies 3-1 in the 4th. And still to come, you have the Tigers and Angels, Diamondbacks and Padres, Braves and Athletics, White Sox and Mariners, and Giants and Dodgers. A lot of late games on tonight's slate. But let's get right into the weekly news. And it was on Saturday. We nearly had our first no-hitter in a really long time. I feel like we've had, one no-hitter all year? They've just kind of not happened so far this year. But Dylan Cease was 1 out away. Luis Ariz gets a base hit right back up the middle, right center field on a 1-1 count.
And listen, I was watching this game prior to, I think I started watching this game in the 6th inning, but I think the biggest thing for me before that was Ariz going into this game was the leading batting average guy for the American League. Why would you not just walk him to get, I forget who was following him to get to the next guy who would
walk anybody while you have a no-hitter. You're not going to dodge people.
Yeah. Well,
he already got
the number one. You had the number 1 hitter up there. I think I would have went a little different way. It was a great, entertaining game. What he was doing with the ball, the movement that Cease had dancing the ball around the strike zone. He pitched a gem that day.
Albert Pujols is now 1 home run away from Alex Rodriguez in the all-time home run list. He hit number 695 on Sunday. It was a pinch hit job in a scoreless game of all things. I believe that was against the Cubs. But just Pujols, I don't want you to retire, sir. I know you said you will, and he and Molina are going to hang things up this year, but you have the designated hitter of the National League. Please don't go. He's so much fun right now, and just how red hot he's been in the last month has been fantastic.
I would agree with that 100%. I think everybody in St. Louis is pushing for him. I mean, as a baseball fan, I think we're all pushing for him to hit 700. If he gets it, listen, if he gets 700 by the end of the year, let him retire. Yeah, I'm right there.
No,
let him.
No, we somebody has to beat Bonds.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, we're going to run out of time before the show, but winner gets to be on the show next week. How about that, Kevin? We got too much going on this week, but no, we'll be talking about Lewis Clarkson here shortly. Maybe we'll have the winner on, or the loser might have to spend time with us. One of the two, whichever way you want to look at it.
Maybe the loser should join us for our MMA training up there.
Oh God, somebody hit another 68. I just want him to hit forever. Tom Brady refuses to retire in the NFL and continues to do fantastic things. I would love to see Albert Pujols. No, I mean, if he retires, he says he will, I totally get it. I just want him to hit 700 first. It's been one of, if not the coolest story this year. The only one possibly matching it and or topping it. And I might be a homer, but Aaron Judge, who's now at 54 home runs, I had to update that on Roberts because the dude just hits a home run every single day right now. He is now tied with Alex Rodriguez, speaking of A-Rod, for the most right-handed home runs in Yankee history at 54. He's currently on pace. It might be 65 now, but it's 64 or 65, right in that range. And again, he's been the offense for the Yankees. He scored every single run that the Yankees scored in a horrible series with the Rays. Yes. And Zenny Grub nails it with the rain's the only thing that's stopping Aaron Judge. The rest of the Yankee offense has been absolutely putrid, but Aaron Judge has just been absolutely fantastic. So much fun. What was it? Sunday, he had the first pitch of the game out for a home run. He gets one yesterday against Minnesota and a win there. How many do you think he gets?
I could easily see him passing Roger Maris. 61, I think, is a no-doubter as he is swinging the ball, or swinging the bat and hitting the ball extremely well. But here's the biggest thing I see with him, and it's gotten to be over the last couple of weeks, is like you said, he has become the offense. He has become that thing of everybody is waiting on him. He is what's happening there. And so I think that's got to be a big thing that's weighing on it. And is how much pressure can he keep putting on himself to keep this team afloat? Yeah, I think Bengals win and Hagen wears. I don't know who this Hagen is. He can't spell my name. It is right on the it is right on the street. Driscoll. I mean Driscoll. He has a tough time reading as it is.
Sure, it's autocorrect. I got you, Kevin. His phone is betraying him right now. But we're looking at what? The Yankees have played 135 games. So what do we got left? 27 games left? There we go.
Yeah.
27 left. And he needs 7 to tie the record.
He's played 135 right now. So
yeah. I'm with you. I think he passes 61. How far he gets is another question. How red hot he is. It's incredible. And the Yankees, once again, are playing for something. They're not playing for a home field advantage anymore. They're 6 games behind Houston. But they let Tampa Bay right back into this race for sure. And if it's not Judge, who is it?
Mm-hmm.
For New York. So, yes, I also believe he is going to break the American League record. I don't think he's going to get up there with like the Sammy Sosa with his 66. I think that's a bit too far for him, but it's going to be fun to catch.
Yeah, and see right there, Harry thinks 63. I think 63 is probably a good number, but the big thing is how much pressure he's putting on himself. And you and I have talked a couple of times off show is who's setting the table for him.
Nobody.
Now Benintendi's hurt. He's possibly done. I have not read anything today.
Hammock. There was the hammock bone in his hand. It's going to be really close to the end of the regular season. It's basically, if the Yankees can make the postseason from the sounds of it, they're going to have Matt Carpenter and Andrew Benintendi back, but not until the end of the regular season.
And right now, they're holding on to a 4.5 game lead to a team that I thought, I didn't think Tampa Bay was going to climb up ahead of Toronto, and they're proving it. And they're proving it right now. I've
always said, do not look lightly on that team. Shohei Ohtani passes 400 strikeouts as a pitcher in just 4 years. The dude is a unicorn. I get the argument that he should be the MVP because he's pitching and Judge is not. But if that's the case, then just give Ohtani the MVP every single year because no one else is going to do what he does. See, he's having a fantastic year, but you can't be that valuable on a team that's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Witt Jr., Julio Rodriguez have both hit the 2020 club now. You asked a couple months ago of Julio Rodriguez hitting the 30-30 club as a rookie. He's at 23 home runs, 24 stolen bases. Do you still think he gets there?
It's going to be close. I think that time off with the injury after the All-Star break kind of slowed him down a little bit. I think I'm going to barely take the over. I think he does. I think he hits 31 or 32 home runs. But he's a quick guy on the bases, and I love watching him run the bases. I think they start turning him loose a little bit, and he ends up with like 35 to 40 on the stolen base side.
We'll talk about the Mariners more in a second, but I just want to laugh that Robert Hagen in our notes, but they've won 7 in a row just for them to lose on Monday.
Yeah. I put it in there. I mean, 7-game win streak. They were looking good. I moved them up on my top of the power rankings. I didn't put them in the top. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but easily in the top 10 right now of what they're doing. So, but yes, I did jinx them.
Last player to win MVP on a last place team. I feel like it's Alex Rodriguez for the Rangers.
I was thinking maybe he's throwing up a Baltimore Orioles stat.
Maybe.
And it's
they finished last a lot.
And it's a Cal Ripken thing. I have Cal in my head.
Which,
did I hit it?
Did he hit it or did I hit it? I'm confused. We'll get to it in a second. One last thing, though, before we get into our normal ending baseball stuff. Dodgers' magic number is 9. Do they have the NL West locked up by the time, I come back on the show next week because you'll be gone?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I turned on yesterday's game and was watching the Dodgers give up 2 home runs there, I think in the 4th inning, and was trailing that game. So I don't think they will hit the magic number in a week. I say about 12 days.
The answer is yes, because for the 38th straight weekend in a row, it's the Dodgers and the Padres. I thought you were only supposed to play these teams like 16, 18 times. They've played 16 or 18 series. Seems like every time I go to look at what I want to play or use as our series of the week, the Dodgers and Padres are facing each other, which is no longer entertaining. A-Rod. See, there you go. I got it. We've said enough about A-Rod on this show.
I think that's the most we've talked about A-Rod in 98 shows.
That's brutal. Yeah, 2003. All right, let's just look at the standings right now. We won't go through the series because we got to get to some college football before we get to the top of the hour and get Cassidy Nelson on the show. But the Astros still holding on to a giant lead over the Mariners, though I believe this is like the 5th or 6th straight week that I'm saying the Mariners have gained half a game. They continue to creep forward. It's just not going to be enough time. Yankees holding on to a 5-game lead on the Rays, 5.5 over the Blue Jays. They both gained 2 games on the Yankees in the past week. The win on Sunday was really big for the Yankees to make that not a 3-game lead. But it is a lot closer. Speaking of a lot closer, Guardians now only with a 1-game lead over Minnesota and just a 2-game lead over the Chicago White Sox. So that one is really fun. And it's starting to work itself out in the wild card. You have the Rays and Mariners and Blue Jays all basically within a game of each other, all fighting for that one homestand in the wild card. And the Orioles, they were right in there. They still have a chance as they're playing the Blue Jays right now, still up 5-4, but they lose a doubleheader to Toronto and now dropped 4.5 back. If it was the opposite, they'd only be a half game back. So a big turn of events there. But are we now starting to get locked in as going to be Rays, Mariners, Blue Jays as the wild cards?
I don't count out Baltimore right now. Looking at their even Minnesota, I think they've got a small chance. It's going to be close. We will see, but I think right now everything is becoming very interchangeable. Especially, I hate to say that, especially the way that the Yankees have played over the last, approximately 30 games. It has not been
More
Yankee. I'm just saying the Yankee-esque that we started out the season. So I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, and we've seen that happen over the last, especially the last couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how well these guys hold on. And for me, it's about that time we all start looking at schedule watching. We're down to 35 games. Where are our matchups at? Where are we looking? So it will be interesting over these next about 4 weeks.
We don't have to look up matchups for the NL West. The Dodgers are up by 19 games. The Padres somehow gained a half a game in the last week. But again, they play each other this weekend. I think that's going to be the end of it. For San Diego there, though, they are battling out for wild card spots. It's really fun in the NL East again as the Braves gain 2 games on the Mets. They just refuse to not go away. That one's a lot of fun. The Cardinals starting to just blow away the Brewers. I thought we both believed that was going to be the really fun series in the National League. They're now up 7.5 games. So that's kind of flipped. The Mets had started blowing away the Braves, and the Cardinals and Brewers are close. Now there's flipped. And honestly, that's the series that I want to see more of is Mets-Braves, because I think either of those 2 teams could challenge the Dodgers in the NLCS as far as the National League representative for the World Series. And let's be honest, they could win the whole thing.
All right. But, don't count out St. Louis. They're playing for some main reasons right now. You've got Yachty, you've got Wainwright. I'm sorry, you got probably the 2 best corner defender, between Arenado and you've got Goldschmidt first and third.
Yep.
And the hype so much around Molina and Pujols that's the team that feels to me right now the most excited to watch, to be able to see. And I think, and it's not because I'm wearing red tonight supporting the Cardinals, but it's they're fun right now of what they're doing with their games there. So
No, Arizona, or not Arizona, St. Louis. See the Cardinals all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I'm tired. I'm just tired. But you see St. Louis, and they're the feel good story in Major League Baseball. It worked out last year. Freddie Freeman finally winning with Atlanta, and then he ended up moving on. But with the Cardinals and so many of them looking like this is their final year, 2 of them have already announced that Wainwright, we believe this could probably be his last year as well. Plus, Goldie out there dominating the MVP. His only threat right now is his teammate and Nolan Arenado. So that's fantastic. As far as the wild card goes, obviously the Braves have that top spot locked in. Whether it's the Braves or the Mets, we will find out. But they have a 10.5 game lead over the Phillies. We're basically in a tie with the Padres for the other 2 wild card spot, with the Brewers 2 games back and everyone else kind of falling off. Though the Giants did make a nice move, sweeping Philadelphia over the weekend. But I think it's between those 4.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any question with any of those. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, but you have to say this, Chris. I mean, Freeman is finding his spot in that Dodgers lineup as being kind of that role model with some of these guys. I think you hit it 100%. I think the best series there is seeing what Atlanta can do, especially what they've done creeping up. They've got such a big lead in the wild card, 10.5 games over the Phillies. It's nuts. I think you're down to these 4 main teams, and that's it.
All right, let's get to our power rankings. Slightly changing. We're going to get to Roberts here in a second. I'll go through mine first. Dodgers number 1, and then I moved Houston just ahead of Atlanta for 2-3. Put the Mets down to 4, but those 3 I think are very, very close right now, especially with how red hot the Braves have been. So Dodgers, Astros, Braves, Mets, and I can't have the Yankees out of my top 5 yet.
I was very close to it. I wanted to. It was going to be tough, but for me, I'm keeping the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers to lose, and right now they're proving right now that they're the most dominant team in all of baseball. For me, number 2 has got to be Houston, just because we've watched so much of them in the American League West. Number 3, I'm going to keep the Yankees. Gotta love them Yankees. I don't know about it, because I'll tell you what I'm going to do here in a minute. Atlanta has been hot. They have climbed up. They're getting over. I moved them just ahead of the Mets, even though they're on such a hot streak. Their record is still a little bit smaller than what New York is. Yeah, I like what they are. But for me, it's got to be the hot team finally making it up there. Yeah, I understand right now that the ball clubs, where they're at.
Am I muting you right now? I don't know.
I don't think that works. With what St. Louis has done, just short of 80 wins, I'm going to move them up into the 5 spot. And I say this, no disrespect to the Yankees, because the Yankees have played really well.
No,
over the entire year, I'm skidding them down. I am actually moving the Yankees even behind the Mariners, who I have the Mariners at 6, Yankees at 7. Yep. They are in such a skid. I have to.
Stop it.
I have to.
Yankees and Mariners play in a 3-game set. You're getting swept. Just stop it.
Wait, didn't we already beat you?
It's not a postseason.
2 out of 3?
Postseason.
Oh, here we go. Postseason.
Bring it on. Regular season stuff don't matter. We've been through this. It's all about get to the postseason.
I thought
it's a reset.
I thought it was spring training, and that didn't count.
Once you get to the postseason, the regular season doesn't count. All right, let's get to our player of the week, and I have to bring up Zach Gallen, who has just been absolutely phenomenal for a garbage team in the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had 2 starts over the last week, 14 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. That's something he's been doing a lot of. 14 strikeouts, 2 walks, 4 hits. He has not allowed a run in his last 6 starts. He has a 41 and a third inning scoreless streak, which is the 8th longest since the live ball era, which basically started in 1920. He's the 4th pitcher in the modern era, which is since 1900, to throw 6 or more scoreless innings in 6 straight starts. The other 3, Don Drysdale in 68, Hershiser in 88, and Zach Greinke back in 2015. It's been absolutely phenomenal. But now his next start is at Coors Field. Now, Colorado is not a great team, but that ballpark likes to give up the run, so we'll see how long it lasts. But he's been on a phenomenal streak. What do you got?
Yeah, I have to go with the guy that has been extremely hot, part of this 4-game win streak for the I'm hoping Mitchell's listening. For the San Francisco Giants, give me Jock Peterson. That dude has just become an RBI machine, 11 RBIs over his 5 games he played this week. And they're on an 11-game win streak. They just have looked impressive. They looked very impressive last night. So they will not make the playoffs, but to see Jock Peterson have a great week, I think you just have to tip your cap and give it to him.
And then real quick, our series to watch, I'm going to take the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Robert's going to take the Cleveland Guardians and the Minnesota Twins. You also have the Seattle Mariners at the Atlanta Braves. The rest of the series do not look appealing at all, unless you really want to watch the Dodgers and the Padres play for the 300th time of the season. Let's get to college football, because this was really the first full week, for that league. And man, have I missed it. There were some fantastic games this weekend and through Sunday and Monday and what?
You say fantastic on one side, but then you look on the other side and it's like, oh my God.
And then Oregon.
Why are we putting these teams together?
Well, I mean, I want to give the credit to the teams that are going out there and playing tough competition the very first week. You're going to have like the Alabamas that play the cupcakes and the WSUs who think they're playing the cupcakes in Idaho and then nearly lose. Okay. But then you're going to have the really fun ones. Ohio State, Notre Dame, we all thought was going to be a higher scoring game. Mm-hmm. It was not. It was a lot closer. Ohio State wins that one 21-10. Georgia rolled Oregon, just embarrassing the Pac-12. They win that 49-3. Utah losing to Florida, not really an embarrassment to the Pac-12. It is at the Swamp. I did bring up the stat last week that the Gators dominated the Swamp, especially on their season home opener. Utah was in it.
Oh, they were in it
all the way through the game. That was, if not for a game I'm about to get to, that was the game of the week. It was great back and forth. 2 really good teams. Florida flies up the rankings after this one. They won that one 29-26. The number 19 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks defeated your Cincinnati Bearcats 31-24. Are they still your Bearcats, or with Ritter gone, do you care?
I still like them. You know what they were doing. They just came out a little flat to start the game off with. That was one of my games. Dude, I told the wife this the other day. I love Saturday mornings. She sleeps in, and I have 4 college football games on my TV, and I've got them all going, and I'm watching everyone, and I'm constantly clicking around to listen to the commentators of what's going on. They just come out a little slow there the very first, but I still think they're going to be a dominant team. I don't know if they will crack and stay in the top 25, but I think in their conference in the American Cup, they're going to look good.
Did you watch this North Carolina Appalachian State game, or at least the highlights?
I've watched a little bit of the highlights. Yes.
The highlights are absolutely insane. Go watch them. Go find them on YouTube. Go find the good ones. There are some highlights that just cut out things. But Appalachian State scored 40 points in the fourth quarter. They lose that game 63-61. There were 3 touchdowns in the last 35 seconds of this game. Appalachian State goes for 2 twice, or unable to get it both times. The first time was just heartbreaking, as the receiver is wide open, backpedaling. The quarterback just barely overthrows him, and the receiver trips, and they're unable to connect. Then North Carolina, up by 1, did something I think is the most boneheaded move I've ever seen. They get the onside kick and decide to run it back for a touchdown, which all it does is make it a one-possession game still, and you give the ball back to Appalachian State instead of just following the ball, kneel it, and go home. I get it. He's a kid, but he wants that touchdown. But that game, absolutely insane. Florida State, LSU, crazy ending on Sunday between those two. Florida State wins that one 24-23. Then the local ones, Washington State holds on to beat Idaho 24-17, even though Idaho jumped out 10-0, had the ball late and threw an interception, I believe, at the 4 or 5 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Washington, since Paul Dazenbrock won't shut up about them, they defeated Tennessee State 36-29, and UNLV defeated Idaho State 52-21. What else really stood out to you this week?
Actually, that last game you just said, UNLV and Idaho State, I thought Idaho State was a lot better team than what they did. They just came out and it just was not impressive. I went and watched some of the highlights and just did not look like the team of what Big Sky is all about. And that's a little unnerving to see how bad they played in that. And especially UNLV is not a big football school as they used to be.
Mm-hmm. I was impressed with Idaho. Just their defense was really, really good. First game there with Coach Eck, and they took a step forward. I don't think Washington State should be too worried compared to where you were ranking them. If you thought they had a chance to win the Pac-12, then yes, you should be worried. But they are kind of going through some changes up there in the Palouse as well. But I really liked what I saw up there from the Vandals, and my Idaho disappointed because they didn't win.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
But
if you look at how Eck was on the sideline, just watching him fire up his defense, especially after the second takeaway for them to end up going ahead 10-0, this dude is going to keep this team on their toes. I'm excited for what this coaching staff, they're young. He is nothing close to what Petrino was. That makes me excited to go and catch a few games up in the dome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited to see where they get with that. My Twitter completely blew up during this game because I work for the Tribune, so I follow our WSU beat reporter, and I follow our Idaho beat reporter, and obviously they're both at the game. And I also follow our former Idaho beat reporter and somebody else that used to work for the Tribune who's now a WSU beat reporter somewhere else. And holy crap, every time a big play happened, I had 4 new tweets on my timeline. And just different updates. I begged them to start to get into a Twitter beef, like arguing yardage and stuff. But I couldn't get them to do it. But we will get into our predictions for next week's games, including Washington State and Idaho, who both have some Big Ten competition. I don't think either of them are coming away with wins. You look at the rankings, though, I don't really care. They're early on, but Georgia moves up to 2. Ohio State drops to 3. Michigan moves up a couple spots to 4. Clemson still in the top 5. Nice to see USC move up a couple spots. Florida goes from unranked to 12th, which shows you what preseason rankings mean, with one game being able to jump you that much. Pittsburgh was unranked, moved up to 17. So there's a lot of movement there. But
it's like you said, I mean, you can't really look at any of this stuff through the first 5 weeks. After about week 5, then you can start really putting a spot with each of these guys. So,
all right. So before we get into part 2 of Who Am I, it looks like our next guest has popped in and is about ready to go. It might surprise you, but the LC volleyball season is very much underway. It feels like they're halfway through the season before we finally get a home game.
What the heck?
And it'll be on Friday. But we're going to have Cassidy Nelson join in on the show. Cass, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How's everything going, getting ready for your first home game?
Good. We're excited. We had a good practice today, and we're just going to keep that train going all the way till this weekend.
It's been really fun to watch you guys through all of your road games, which, again, you guys had that long California trip. Just kind of talk about what kind of a team builder that is to be able to go on a trip with the team to start the season. And you had a pretty good, successful run down there.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we did a lot of team bonding, actually, which was really fun on that trip. We got to go to the San Francisco Bridge, which was fun. And we just did a lot of, get to know you stuff. So that was really good for us. And then the games were awesome because it started off kind of a little bit easier, and then as the weekend went, we kind of were able to like build up our competition and stuff. So it was a good like little beginner tournament for us. It was good.
And you talked about being on the road a little bit, and as one guy that loves to follow social media, especially with LCSC and you guys, from track and field to all of it, volleyball, you guys are a little interesting on the candidness of what you guys are doing, from the places you're eating, the places you're going, and to how is it, with these new girls that are on the team?
It's really fun. I feel like they came in and just meshed really easily. Like there was really no like big disconnect between us. It was just like kind of like they were meant to be here type of thing, like it's only 3 weeks in, and I feel like they've been here for a year, it's just so easy with them. It's awesome.
So talk about some of those new players, because again, home opener is this Friday. You guys got games Friday and Saturday, so it's going to be the first time that a lot of these Warrior fans are able to see some of these names. So just kind of give us a quick preview of some of the new players that have joined your team this year.
So we have 3 transfers coming or here. So we have Lisi Longi. She's a pin hitter. She's awesome. She's a senior this year. Just super strong and big built. She's like really powerful. She's insanely good. We have a transfer setter named Vanya. She's from Serbia. She's really good too. She's like the sweetest little person I've ever met in my life. She's super athletic, so she's been an awesome little contributor to our team already. And then we have Maddie. She is from California. She's a libero, and she's really good too. She's super hardworking and super fun to be around. And then we have 2 freshmen, Esther, which is a setter, and she's just super quick, and like she's like super quick on the court, but also like super witty too. So it's fun being around her. She's hilarious, and a super good setter too. She's been a great like addition to our team as well. And then our last freshman is Jules, which is another pin hitter, and she's just like Lisi, but just a younger version. She's super strong and powerful and a good player too. So we have really good incoming girls this year, and it's been super fun.
So with what I've been reading and all that, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm not meaning to put you on the spot. Is this team a little bit deeper than last year's team?
Absolutely, yeah. I think all the girls coming in are making a huge step up for us. They've all been like adding to our team 1000%, and it doesn't matter who's on the court out there. Like, we're going to be good. Like we're super deep this year. We only had like 3 girls leave. And so all those spots have kind of been filled and added to. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that front line that you guys have that including you and Jada and Chana and Carly, there's so many of you I'm going through. And then you have Gracia, who, especially when I'm watching the video, I got to watch a lot of your guys' match with Oregon Tech. And she looks like she's 1.5 feet shorter than all of you at the front, and she gets up there and hits it harder than almost all of you out there. Right. Just kind of talk about her impact on the team.
She is insanely good. She was a beach player, so not only does she have a crazy vertical and gets up there, she's also like super smart. So she can pretty much place the ball wherever she wants, but with power. So it's kind of a like interesting little combo, because usually you have like one or the other. But yeah, she's super good. She's like just like an all-around like athletic girl. She can just do it all, just one of those kind of people.
No, I was gonna go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, because obviously Robert and I are pretty new to the sport of volleyball. He started doing PA. I was doing play-by-play last year for you guys, and it was the most I've watched volleyball last year compared to the rest of my long ass life. But the one thing I'm most impressed with is how fast that game goes and how much communication goes on with you ladies on the court. What goes through the decision making in those split seconds about whether letting the ball go or especially in your case, trying to figure out where you're going to try to spike the ball when you're looking up at the ball, and obviously your teammates are trying to give you information, but how much goes through your brain in just one split second and some of these crazy plays?
That's honestly one of the hardest parts about volleyball. That's actually funny that you said that because that's a big thing that we worked on practice today is even adding more communication on the court. But yeah, it's pretty just quick. And yeah, we do rely on a lot of the girls around us to be communicating because it gets hard when there's so much going on and you have to keep track of everything on our side of the net, but also what's happening on their side of the net. So we kind of have like almost like jobs, I don't know, like things that we're supposed to be keeping track of ourselves. So like our middles are supposed to be keeping track of what their middles are doing and just stuff like that, you know? So just the more communicating, the easier it is type of thing.
On that same basis, you know, both Randy and I have gotten to meet and hang out with Sean Pullman very much and love hanging out with that guy, chatting with him. And one thing that I caught from watching him coach you guys last year is how involved in each play he is and what his peripheral vision must be huge because many times I mean, you and I'd look at each other and he'd be there already making a comment about your last play, and then he's talking to somebody else in that same play. How is he seeing everything? What is it like to play for Coach?
Coach is like just incredibly smart and he just knows the game like almost before it's happening. Like he knows, yeah, like he literally knows what's gonna happen before it happens. It's like so weird. He's just like really good at keeping track of like multiple things at a time. I don't know how he does it, but literally any question I have for him, he just is like so quick with it. He's like just really good. And he's like not only like tactical and strategy wise, but he's also like really helpful on like the mental side of the game. He'll like easily like let us like he gives us chances, but he also like helps us snap out of it if we're like struggling or if we have like mental, you know, aspects of the game. He's like really good at like talking us through it. So he's good at the mental and the strategy part is what I'm trying to say.
Right. With that being said, it's been a huge change too, as LC did lose their assistant coach, and you know, hats off to Drew for traveling up to Gonzaga. What is it about our new coach helping Coach Sean? Fill us in a little bit about him.
He is amazing. He had a big role to fill. Coach Drew was like one of like easily the best coaches I've ever had in my entire life. So he had a big role to fill, but he is like seriously, he's close to like one of the best coaches I've ever had too. And I've only known him for a couple weeks now, but he is really helpful on the front row, like defensive. He's been like really taking charge of our blocking, which is one thing that we struggled with a lot last year. So he's already been making so much like strides with us there in that aspect. But he's also just like very funny. Like he's so quick with it too. He's very like sarcastic and like the type of person that like you don't know if they're making a joke or not. You're like, oh, you know, but he always is. He's hilarious. And like he's very like a personable person, which always makes it easy. You know, so yeah, He's really good. I like him a lot.
So let's look at last week real quick, and then we'll touch on the games you have going on. For one, the Cascade Conference is extremely difficult, especially this year. There's so many teams that are ranked and tough to play. Oregon Tech started ranked. You guys had a fantastic 5-set win against them. I'm still really mad that I watched most of that match, and then with 3 points to go, the feed died for me. But that's neither here nor there. There's nothing you guys could do about it. But then kind of talk about then the tough loss against Southern Oregon. You guys lose in straight sets, but another really good team there.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of difficult for us to be able to be completely ready for both teams. We spent a lot of time watching film and preparing for OIT, and it obviously paid off for us. So yeah, we were really going into that game fully prepared and like really like getting after it. And OIT, the last 2 times we played them, we lost in 5 sets to them. So we were like really, really wanting it. Mm-hmm. Not that we weren't wanting SOU, but when we went to SOU, I just don't think we were like as prepared for what to expect. They are an incredible team. I'm really excited to like see how far they go on because I think they should be ranked higher than what they are right now. Their offense is just a lot faster than what we were ready for and what we were expecting. Like compared to last year, I would say that's like almost a completely new team in a way. So yeah, I'm excited for next time we play them to be more prepared and to know what to expect more. We just were caught a little bit caught off guard, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. Again, your home opener on Friday against number 7 Eastern Oregon, and then you get College of Idaho on Saturday. How much prep have you been able to do for both of those matches?
College of Idaho has been a little bit difficult to prep for that one because they have been out with COVID and injuries. So this week we've been kind of more focusing on us and what we need to improve of, because as long as we are like in a well-oiled machine and we're improving on the things that we need to improve on, I think these 2 games will be just fine, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're kind of focusing more on watching our film and kind of fine-tuning the stuff that we learned from last week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make the spiel. I know Lewis and Clarkson, the big football game, is going on this weekend. And Robert, you're going to be off doing that. But if you're not going there, go check out the LC Volleyball women's team. They're a blast to watch. Just go watch them during timeouts. They have the most fun I've seen any team in any sport ever. Especially last year, where I had a blast just going. I was like, we had to ask Coach Paulman after the season. I was like, are they taking this serious? Because they're just having fun. I was like, no, they could do both. I just let them have their fun and they focus on the court. So they're a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you.
All right, so let's do some quick fire questions for you. You know, we like to have fun with our student athletes and that. So let's do some quick questions. Just what things happen for you. So what's your favorite board game? I mean, you got to have a favorite board game of some sort.
I really like Cards Against Humanity or like Apples to Apples, those kind of games.
We play enough apples to apples at the junior high level, let me tell you. Hey, what is one of your nicknames? If one of the girls call you a nickname, or does coach have one for you, or parent, or
I wish I had more. People usually just call me Cass. I don't know. I don't really have any. People call me Cass lately, which is kind of funny, but yeah. I don't know.
How about, do you have a hidden talent? Do you do anything? Do you play the piano, guitar? What talent do you have that nobody knows about?
I like to paint. I'm not anything crazy, but I don't know, not terrible.
All right, with all the action going on, all the games, all that, what is your go-to lazy dinner? If you're done with practice, I'm done. I'm wiped. I got to study a little bit. What's your lazy dinner?
My lazy dinner would just be like a turkey sandwich. Just easy, quick.
So this one, and I saw this one Randy put in there, and I laughed about it because I had a student earlier had issues with this, but I have a difficult time saying the word tinfoil.
Aluminum.
Thank you. What is a word that you have a tough time pronouncing?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard one. Maybe, I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't feel like I really have one. I probably do. I know I do. No, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That is okay. How about this one? I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, very much, but you are from Utah. Spent a little time UNLV. Do you have a favorite sports team around your area that you like to follow? Whether it's not just volleyball, maybe basketball, baseball, any of that?
I like watching Jazz basketball. Kind of sad Donovan just left.
I was going to bring it up, but.
All right, and I'm not meaning to put you on the spot. I think I know. I think I know the answer to this one too. But who's your favorite teammate to play with?
Kenzie Cloward, of course.
Yeah.
Do
My
it.
best friend ever.
Do it. And for many of you that don't know, Casa and Kinsey played together early in your careers. So, I mean, that's awesome. That's part of the reason you came to LCSC.
Yeah, it is. We played in high school together, went to JUCO together, and then she came here and I went to UNLV, and then I came back pretty much for her. But yeah, she's my best friend, so her, obviously.
Yeah, they're attached.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some word association. Something we've done for all 2 years that we've done this show. I'll just say a name. You give me the first thing that really pops your mind, and of course, we got to start with Kenzie.
My best friend.
How about Jada Wims?
Intelligent.
We agree. We've had her on the show. Very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
How about Channel Hart?
The nicest human ever.
I think I could agree with that too. How about Carly Bernstein?
Strong.
How about Kenzie Dean?
She is just like a people person. I just love being around her.
Mm-hmm. How about Coach Sean Paulman?
Hilarious.
And then we do it to everybody, but the last one, Cassidy Nelson.
Hardworking.
Perfect. Well, Cassidy, go ahead.
Oh, I'd agree with every one of those. The only one that I might chime in with is Kinsey. She is like the team DJ. When I first I remember her coming over and it's like, okay, we got to change this up. You're playing this stuff. She was the DJ. I'll let you, here you go. You can do that now.
She has full control of the aux cord always in the locker room, game day. Like louder. We need it louder.
All right, well, Cass, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget LCSC volleyball this Friday at 7 p.m. They take on number 7 Eastern Oregon. They're going to need all of your support. It's a big difference in that gym when we get especially a good student section for these ladies, especially it's their home opener. Go out and give them the support. They take on Eastern Oregon on Friday, College of Idaho at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Again, Cass, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Cass.
It's Cassidy Nelson of the LCSC volleyball team. They have been off to a pretty good start, 6-2 on the year, 2-1 in conferences as they are full on into conference mode. Again, they had that great 5-setter win last weekend against Oregon Tech. Did fall to Southern Oregon, and we will see how they do now that they finally get to come home. Let's get to some other LC sports as everything else is going underway. Cross country had their first meet. There's no Clayton Van Dyke and there's no Cole Olson.
What?
But there's no problem for the LC cross country team as the men finished in third as a team. They had 4 Warriors in the top 20. Carter Gordon finished 13th to lead all Warriors. Actually, he beat everybody that was not on Gonzaga or Eastern Washington, who are 2 NCAA schools. So he was fantastic. Won the Cascade Conference Runner of the Week last week. Griffin Parcells finished 14th. Connor Turpin finished 18th, and Connor May finished 19th. The women also finished in third. They have a bit of a smaller roster this year than we have seen in the past. But Geraldine Correa, who's been fantastic, finished 12th. Brooklyn Shell finished in 15th. Again, LC finishing only behind Gonzaga and Eastern Washington in the 2 team standings. And they're, of course, both 2 NCAA Division I programs. Golf off to a fantastic start as both the men and the women both won at Coastal Collegiate Classic. That ended up today. The men, who were not up by that much after day 2, I can't remember the exact amount, they won by 45 strokes. Devin Caruso, who was 5 or 6 strokes out of the lead going into today, shoots a 1 under 69 in his final round. He ends up being the individual medalist on the men's side. So congratulations to him. Jorgen Vicken ends up finishing third. I believe there was 8 or 9 teams on the men's side. On the women's side, there were only 3, and one of them got disqualified. Not enough women, I think, was the ruling there. So it was basically a head-to-head between LC and Oregon Tech, and the Warriors come out on top there. Alex Schmidt finished the second. Dina Caruso and Kylie Hughes both finished tied for 4th. So great job for both sides of the golf team. Cross country's off to a good start. Volleyball's off to a good start. Golf back in action on Monday at the College of Idaho Invitational. It's a great start for LC sports here in the fall.
It's just nuts to think about how busy it is. I have not made it over to campus. I know you're back at school. You've been over there. I'm excited to get back to campus and see, but things are just still happening so quick over there. And what these athletes are doing, it's just cross country, not missing a beat. That's just from what has transpired since it felt like as soon as baseball was done, everything kind of just teetered off. It didn't, especially with volleyball. I mean, they were going 100 miles an hour. Excited to see where things go with this, and guys, go support these local athletics and go and watch the LCSC.
All right, so we're going to get to part 2 of Who Am I, because I wanted to get Cassie had popped on perfectly on time. I didn't want to have her wait. But while you set that up, Denny Grubb, if you are still out there, what in the blue moon is happening in this game? I looked up while Cassidy was telling a story, and the benches had cleared in Baltimore, and now a Toronto coach is losing his mind right now. So it's not a calm game between the Blue Jays and Orioles, and a 6-5 Baltimore lead in the bottom of the 7th, but I have no idea what's going on. So if Denny's out there, please let me know. Part 2, sir.
All right, part 2. So we'll rewind a little bit and tell you that he was a 2-sport athlete from Louisiana. He set a national record throwing the javelin, and he was ranked number 1 in passing yards his junior year and ranked number 3 his senior year. Okay. I ended up being considered by most scouts to be the most outstanding college football player during my college time. With that being said, I was drafted number 1 overall in my draft class. I played my entire 14-year career with one team. I am a 3-time Pro Bowler, an MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and named to the All-Decade team.
With only 3 Pro Bowls. That's interesting.
So that's where we're going to leave for part 2.
I'm not quite there yet, but it's interesting that he makes the All-Decade team. And don't go, oh, well, I don't remember who's all on the All-Decade team. And you're not telling me what year he was drafted first, so I don't even know what decade we're in right now.
Yes, exactly correct.
So you're being mean, a little bit mean.
I know. So before we start the Idaho sports and we do our pick'ems really quick, I did hear some news. I'd like to share it with you.
Bring it.
I mean, getting some recognition, and I know I'll tag him in the show and we'll talk about it. But one of our Southeast officials from boys basketball, and he is a friend of the show. He does listen to the show occasionally when he's not working. He does do football, does other things, but Mr. Tim Lewis, he's from Liberty Bell High School. He lives down here. Part of the stuff was named the Boys Basketball Official of the Year for the state of Washington. So
very cool. Representing
Southeast sports. So shout out to you, Mr. Lewis. We'll probably be seeing him in the next few days with Bantam football or even junior high football as things are. We're searching for refs, so I think he's probably going to be working a bunch.
All right, now welcome to the predictions sure to go wrong giant portion of the show. Is we're going to first go through the local sports, go through our predictions, and then it's the big NFL predictions, our playoff predictions, our award predictions, the Super Bowl, and yes, we will hit Thursday Night Football. That is what we'll do on the show. You can check out the rest of our picks for the NFL on the Facebook page come Thursday morning. But let's talk about our local pick'em. Again, we were able to use the Beat the Experts, and I want to see where we landed because we both did pretty well last week in the Beat the Experts. We are not going to be able to do that this week because I didn't get access to them in time. I'll see them when I get to work once we're done with the show, but that doesn't help us. I did my best to simulate what might be on the Beat the Experts. We'll see how close we are. But last week, you went 11-4. 8-2, excuse me, 8-5. I forgot to give us that one San Diego State loss. So 11-5, excuse me, overall. 8-2 in high school, 3-3 in college. Not too bad, not too bad. That puts you at 15-6 overall as we did our small little week 1. I went 12-4 though, 7-3 in high school and 5-1 in college. Again, my only losses, we both thought San Diego State was going to beat Arizona. They weren't even close.
Delora looked a lot better than what I was giving him credit for,
Mhm.
and what that offense was doing there. San Diego State, just crazy.
All right, let's get through this kind of rapid fire styles. We have 16 games on the docket, 10 high school, 6 college. And let's start with the big ones. Lewiston at Clarkson, first time over there in Clarkson in 4 years for this big rivalry, both coming off a big win. And I think it's safe to say we're both going to be homers. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bantams, and you hit on it earlier. For me,
Sorry, I misheard you. Did you say Bengals?
No, I did not say Bengals, but it's going to boil down to,
Okay.
for me, like what you talked about earlier. Can that run-stopping defense of the Bantams slow down what the rushing offense of the Bengals have to dish out? And again, it's been 4 years since we've had this game at home. It's going to be fired up. It's going to be loud. So make sure you're there early.
And then we have the other big rivalry, Moscow at Pullman. Neither team off to the best start. They combined for 2 points last week. Pullman was able to get a safety late in their game to avoid a shutout. I like Pullman in this game. Moscow, though they've played 2 teams that have started out red hot, I still think they're a bit away. Pullman, I feel like they got a lot of new players on their team. It's going to take them a couple weeks to get going, but I do think they get the win here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Numbers were down with Moscow, but I'm trying to remember Ebby Qualls. Look for Ebby Qualls from Moscow to start really hitting it, pounded. Big running back for Moscow, but I think Pullman is just too dominant, so I'm going to take Pullman.
All right, Council's 1-1. They are at Lewis County, who is 2-0. Give me Lewis County winning at their home field.
Yeah, home tail going. Council traveling great distance to come up, so give me Lewis County.
Potlatch, who just scored 90 points last week at Prairie, who had a nice bounce back win. I don't see Potlatch scoring 90 points again against Prairie, who loves to run the ball. Give me the Pirates.
Yeah, I'd taken the Pirates all the way. Potlatch, I don't think it was a fluke. I think they played well, but I don't think they put up 90.
Clearwater Valley is 2-0, and I like what they are doing out there. Is it Notice or is it Notice?
I think it's Notice.
Notice, who is 1-1. They're a team a little bit farther south, I do believe. But I'm going to take Notice. I looked at their matchup so far. They lost against I believe they lost against Kendrick. There's no blame there. And then they got a pretty good win last week. So give me Notice.
I'm going to just go opposite of you until Clearwater Valley proves differently. I think they're probably the strongest team in that division. So give me Clearwater Valley.
Clearwater Valley is in there with Kendrick, I do believe. I believe that's in the same one. But Kamei 1-1 at Logos, who's 0-2. Give me Kamei there.
Kamei on the road again. Logos, just not sure about that program, so I'm going to stay with Kamei on the road.
Couple of 1-1 teams. Genesee at Troy. What do you got?
I'm going to take Genesee. I think they're going to come out firing and getting that run game going a little bit better than what they did this last week.
I think this is a very interesting matchup. Troy at home, so give me the Trojans, but it could go either way. This is the one that I'll be keeping an eye on for sure. This one is on Thursday. Tri-Cities Prep at Asotin. Asotin's first home game. Asotin struggled there in their first game of the year, and Tri-Cities Prep is just a bit better. So give me Tri-Cities Prep.
Yeah, I think 100% as this game is a Thursday night game because of officiating, not having enough people. I did have a chance to talk with an assistant coach today, a friend of ours, Mr. Black, and their numbers out of Asotin are just are down a little bit, and I think they're just going to run into a bigger school. So give me Tri-Cities.
Pomeroy at DeSales. That's another really, really good game as far as 8-man football goes, but give me Pomeroy.
Yeah, I think Pomeroy is that team that is going to, even though they lost a fair amount of folks, seniors, I think they keep rolling along. And I have a friend of mine's got a junior on that team, and watching them play, saw a little bit of highlights with that. I'm impressed with what they were doing. So give me Pomeroy. And
a final one for high school football. Weiser, who comes in 2-0 at Grangeville, 0-2, but both of their games have been pretty close. They keep the score pretty low, but I'm going to take Weiser.
I'm gonna go the opposite. Go to the home team. It's time that Grangeville gets off the snide. So let's give me Grangeville.
All right, college football now. Washington State at number 19, Wisconsin. WSU rarely got through Idaho. There's no chance they have any chance against the Badgers.
Yeah, you said it all. Give me Wisconsin.
Idaho, Indiana. Again, give me Indiana. That's Big Ten.
I'm excited to see what this team can do with the fire behind Eck, but I think Indiana's going to be way too much. I'm excited to see what happens when they start playing Big Sky.
What could have been a trap game for the Ducks has now turned into a we need to prove ourselves game, I think, a little bit after Oregon got completely embarrassed this weekend. They host Eastern Washington. Give me the Ducks.
I'm doing this just, not to pick on Pete Williams but I'm jumping on with Paulie. Give me the Eagles.
At least it's not at their stupid stadium. Number 9, Baylor at number 21, BYU. Baylor, the higher ranked team. BYU, the favorite. Give me BYU. We're getting to the Chiefs. Calm down. Calm down.
I honestly, I think this might be the game of the weekend. I think it could be. But I'm going to go with Baylor. I'm going to take the road team traveling over to Utah. So, yeah, give me Baylor.
Another possible trap game, even though Kentucky's pretty good. Kentucky ranked 20th at number 12, Florida, coming off their big upset win against Utah. But give me the Gators at home.
Yeah, I think they're going to live high right now with beating Utah, a ranked team. I think Florida handles Kentucky pretty easily.
And the final one, number 24, Tennessee at number 17, Pittsburgh. Give me the Vols. Ryan Needham, you're welcome.
I'm going the opposite. Give me Pittsburgh. I think it'll be a great game. So another one of those games you might want to tune in for.
All right, before we get into our big NFL previews, I still have not got the Who Am I? We are on to part 3, so catch the people up and continue to fool me.
All right, so this last one, we talked about him being from Louisiana. He was a top quarterback for no, it's not Mahomes. A top quarterback when he was in college. So to review, he was the number 1 draft pick. He played his entire career for 14 years with one team. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and was named to the Decade Team. To this generation, I am more known for being a 3-time Sports Emmy Award winner and football analyst. I'm also known for being a singer, an actor, an author, and a businessman. I am the Blonde Bomber.
Hell, I need help. I've never. Oh,
I just gave you.
I've never heard of the Blonde Bomber. I can look it up.
Thank you, Eric Watkins. Congratulations.
He's not a singer.
He has sang. He actually does have a CD out, and if I need to, I'll have.
That's where you got me. I was like trying to figure out who's singing.
Yeah,
he only made 3 Pro Bowls, really?
Three Pro Bowls.
That's shocking to me.
I figured if I told you that he was a 4-time, yes, he was on The Masked Singer. I could have said that.
There have been horrible people on The Masked Singer. Tom Brady's going to be on The Masked Singer.
Wasn't he already there?
Yeah, he was already there to fail.
So no, he does have an album out and all that, but I figured if I put 4-time Super Bowl champion, you probably would have gotten it.
It would have narrowed it down, but honestly, it was not knowing because I'm terrible at nicknames, especially like the older players. I've never heard of Terry Bradshaw being called that. And obviously he played before my time, and he's really fun as a Fox analyst. So we would have got a lot closer, but honestly, it was the 3 Pro Bowls that completely threw me off.
And that's the thing. I was looking I looked at that. I was shocked it was only 3 Pro Bowls, but I figured, we've gotten to this point now that he's been since I want to say 1994 when he finally joined on with CBS, and then now has made the move over to Fox. So, I mean, you look now, the generation that is now watching football knows him as an analyst, as a color guy, and so and given his predictions, so. That's why I put that one towards the end.
But that is also why I love the people that watch this show, because they're going to help me, even though I still look stupid because they're the ones that got it right. It counts as a win for me. All right, it's time. I know there's a lot of people that are not local that have been nice enough to sit through our local chat, and they want to know exactly what we think is going to happen in the NFL this season. And to put it bluntly, I have no clue. This year, like many years, there's a lot of different ways to go. And let's just be honest, none of us had the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl last year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's start with the bad end. Robert, obviously trades change the draft order. But I want the 5 teams that earn the top 5 spots.
For me, the top 2 are pretty easy. And I didn't make any friends because this was a topic at the end of football practice yesterday, with some of these kids and what they finish up with. But, so my 3 through 5, I've got the Washington Commanders, the Atlanta Falcons, and Chicago.
Oh, we're going to wait, hold on. We're going to get an argument in the chat. I need Chris and Robert to be on best behaviors in the chat just because of that comment. I know what's coming. PG people, PG, Robert. Okay, go ahead.
But my top 2, and I'm not going to make any friends with this, is it's number 1 is going to be Houston. I just think there's way too much drama there going on. And sorry, Seahawk fans, you will have the second pick this year.
What about the other 3?
I already said the Commanders, the Falcons. And
I was distracted by the possible argument. For me, I'm Seahawks fans. Come here. I ain't sorry. You're number 1. The first overall pick will be selected by the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm not sorry to say it. Houston will be 2, Atlanta will be 3, Chicago will be 4, and I feel bad for Justin Fields. I just don't like what's around him. And the New York Giants, though, everyone's on the Saquon Barkley is going to have this big redemption story season. The Giants, to me, are number 5. We gave you our division winners throughout the last few weeks, but now we're going to put them in order and give you our 3 wild card teams as well. Start with the AFC. And I'm going to be very boring with my top team, and it'll be the Buffalo Bills. Now, I went out on a limb I would put a penny on this prediction that the Chargers would beat the Chiefs for the AFC West. So I'll put the Chargers 2. I like the Colts this year, so they'll be my 3 seed. And I do think the Bengals will win the AFC North, but the AFC North is very tough. So whoever comes out of that division is not going to have the best record. So I will have them as the 4 seed. Kansas City, still a fantastic team. So them getting etched out by the Chargers to win the division, I have them as a top wild card team. Baltimore, I do think, will make the playoffs as long as 2/3 of the team do not end up in the hospital like they did last year. It's a very good roster. And with Derrick Henry, I can still see Tennessee sneaking into the playoffs, especially when you have Denver and the Raiders in a very, very tough division. You have Pittsburgh, who has quarterback issues. The Chargers, just watch. They take all the risks last year and it didn't pay off. They're going to take all the risks this year. And I just don't believe in the Dolphins, and I think the Patriots are going to have a down year. So I think the Titans sneak in.
For me, on the other side, I can't disagree with you with Buffalo. I think they're just Josh Allen is just a QB of a different sort than what he's doing up there. Sean McDermott, what he has brought to this team, I think they are going to end up winning it. Sorry, dude. You said it a minute ago, but I honestly think, and it's not because I'm a homer, but you're going to say it's because I'm a homer. I'm taking Baltimore.
Homer!
It's just because of the injuries last year. I think if they can stay healthy, JK can have a great season. I think this is the year, somebody wants to get paid. Let him get paid. Let's put up some numbers. So I got Baltimore 2, Kansas City 3. They've slipped off a little bit. I still think they're one of the top offenses in the league. The matchups with Kelsey and Mahomes, I really like that. For me, maybe it's the bitterness a little bit of CEH last year. I hope that kid can turn it around. I drafted him early in a fantasy league last year. It kind of bit me. So for him, I think this is a put up or shut up this year with Tennessee Titans. I think they win their division. They'll end up with a 4, but I think it's going to be Derrick Henry's probably final big push, a chance to get into the playoffs. So Tennessee 4. And you said it, AFC North is very tough, and I'm going to take Cincinnati, even though that they were, in the Super Bowl this last year. I think there's a chance there. Sorry, Las Vegas fans, sorry about this, but I'm taking the Chargers at 6 over Las Vegas, and then sneaking in, give me Indianapolis at number 7.
Sorry, Chris. Neither of us have the Raiders in there. We don't make friends here. That's just how it works. Speaking of not making fans, let's get to the NFC playoffs. There you go. All right, NFC playoffs for me. Tampa Bay, number 1 seed. It's Tom Brady. It's honestly, the NFC South is pretty weak. I think that was part of the reason why I went that route. I do like New Orleans more than you. But I don't see Carolina really taking that step forward, and I definitely don't see it with Atlanta. So Tampa Bay is your 1 seed, the Rams are your 2 seed, Packers 3 seed, Eagles 4 seed. Those were my division winners. I think the Vikings have a pretty good team, and the NFC is very, very weak right now. So give me the Vikings at the 5 seed, 49ers as a 6 seed. We'll see what Trey Lance can do. But again, pretty weak NFC. And the New Orleans Saints, Jameis Winston, and that great defense that the Saints have is going to help them push in there. So, no, I don't have the Dallas Cowboys anywhere near my playoffs.
So, what I want to know, Ban, is this because we're not playing each other this year? Chris Ban and I always have a bet of when the Raiders play the Ravens. We don't play this year. So, well, maybe this might be it, whether or not they make the playoffs or not. So, for me on the NFC side, I think it's the Rams division not to the Rams making the chance to come back to the Super Bowl. I like that look. With everything going on, Tampa Bay, number 2, I think this has to be with all the drama going on about the family situation with Tampa Bay. I think this is the last push for this ball club to make it. Give me Minnesota. And sorry, Haley, but I think Minnesota is going to outplay Aaron Rodgers this year. And no, I'm not sleeping on my couch because I can sleep in my comfy bed. And then I have Philadelphia coming to win the always terrible NFC East. With that being said, the Packers number 5. And I had to go back and correct it. So thank you, sir, because I looked at yours. And I went back and looked at our stuff. I'm going to take Carolina. I think they sneak in there, and then Arizona with what's going on out west.
Yeah, Arizona is another interesting team. And I just like that Robert Taylor thinks I sleep. Well, I just don't sleep, so I don't have to worry about sleeping on the couch. All right, let's kind of rapid fire the rest of these because I want to get to some Aussie Rules football before the end of our show. And NASCAR had a wild race as well. So I want to get to those. But give me your AFC Championship game, your NFC Championship game, and your Super Bowl winner.
I'm going to go Baltimore over Buffalo, and we're going to make it back to the Super Bowl this year.
Homer!
For the NFC side, I just like the Rams, what they can do there. And I'm taking them over Minnesota. I like Minnesota to beat the Packers this year. Jefferson might be on a different level this year. I've seen people talk and pick him for MVP. I don't know. But in the Super Bowl, I do have the Rams over the Ravens. We do come up just short.
Eric doesn't want to talk. Well, we might skip one game. I don't have the Ravens in my AFC Championship game.
Ouch.
I do not have the Kansas City Chiefs in my AFC Championship game. I don't even have the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. in my AFC Championship game. But I could not go too crazy. I still will have Buffalo in it as they will defeat the Indianapolis Colts. Good defense, great running game. Matt Ryan finally with a decent team. I know everyone's going to bring up the 28-3 loss, or where they lose it to New England. I don't put that on Matt Ryan. I put that on the play calling. I think Matt Ryan will finally be able to. They've been one quarterback away. They thought Carson Wentz was it. He was not it. I think Matt Ryan's definitely going to help. You put him around Jonathan Taylor. Could be a sneaky team, especially with a decent playoff run. And there's always that sneaky team that gets in there. So that'll be it for me. I bounced around here forever. I wanted to have some fun because Green Bay always loses to San Francisco in the playoffs. So I almost put that here. I almost put Minnesota beating Green Bay here. Robert always jokes that Green Bay loses the NFC Championship game. I'm going to agree again. Tampa Bay over Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. And then the Buffalo Bills finally get that big Super Bowl win over Tampa Bay just for fun. There we go. Those are our predictions. Let's quickly go through our awards. We both have Josh Allen as our MVP, so that's definitely not going to happen. Coach of the year for me is Dan Campbell. I think the Lions are going to take a decent step forward. Not quite make the playoffs, but with the way the Lions have been, anything is better.
I think it's going to be Sean McDermott. He's just what he's led this team over the last few weeks, few years, excuse me. I think he just brings a different element.
Hey, if I'm going to make a prediction wrong, I'm going to make it entertaining. I almost went. I didn't want to go Chris Berman. I almost went 49ers Bills for like the third straight year on this show. Comeback player of the year. We both with running backs that had injury issues. I went Christian McCaffrey. You went Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. Offensive player of the year. Mine has to go with my run with the Colts. So give me Jonathan Taylor. You like a Cincinnati Bengal.
I think the receiver, he proved himself this year. Joe Burrow, I think between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So give me Chase. I think he hits 15 touchdowns.
One of the best defensive players is going to win defensive player of the year. I think again, I'm sure he's won it, right? Aaron Donald, if he hasn't won it, he should have won it. He's been fantastic. Aaron Donald's going to win it this year.
We're both sticking in LA, but I'm going a different LA. Give me Joey Bosa.
Offensive rookie of the year. We went with the same team, which was a lot of fun. Mine kind of takes a hit because right now he's the third string. But give me Kenny Pickett. There's not a ton of great quarterbacks out there. Usually a quarterback ends up winning this if he gets on a decent run. So I think Kenny Pickett for Pittsburgh will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think if it'd be a totally different story if we knew he was starting, but he is not. So give me the receiver there. I'm taking George Pickens from Georgia. I think University of Georgia has got something to prove. I think he's going to do quite well in Pittsburgh.
I also would like to see Breece Hall have a chance to win this, but I can't go Homer twice, and I'm going Homer for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Homer!
Sauce Gardner. That's all I wanted in the draft. I got it in the draft. Now I want to see it work out for me. Sauce Gardner is your Defensive Rookie of the Year, please.
You hit it with the defensive coach. Give me going to Detroit. I'm going to take Aiden Hutchins. I think he's going to be the guy up there. Maybe he's the spark that the Lions need.
Honestly, Kalafdis is a very good pick too. I can't be mad about that. All right, let's get to our Thursday night football prediction. We'll do this every week, but it kind of gets thrown in here really quick as we finish through this. We're 2 days away. Mm-hmm. We're less than 48 hours away from the NFL season starting. It's a good one. The Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills, and I honestly think either way it's going to be a 3 or 4 point difference. I think this is going to be a really, really fun game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm trying to do the coin flip between do I go watch the Panthers play Tri-Cities Prep or do I stay home and watch Thursday Night Football? And so for me, I think it's going to be the defending champion. And yeah, I agree. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a high scoring game. I think the over under on points I saw was like 64. So I'm going to take the over. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And just because we said that, one of these teams is going to beat the other one 28-0.
Probably.
That's just how it works. But I mean, Roberts score wise is very close. I could see that flipping either way. I think that's a lot of fun. Eric in here, 42-38 Bills over the Rams, 17 commercials about new pride football.
Actually, the over-under is 51 points right now.
I'll take the over there. I might take the over for Eric Watkins as well.
And the Bills
it looks like Ban wants to take the Rams, so that's good too.
The Bills are favored by 2.5, according to Yahoo Sports.
Again, Thursday morning, you will see the rest of our picks. I know Robert Taylor's already sent me his. Don't go ahead when we post that Thursday morning. Give us your picks as well. Maybe we'll do a fun little side contest and just have some fun with that with you guys. But ours will be up Thursday morning. I'll send Robert mine here probably later on tonight when we slow down at work. But we got to get to it. Aussie Rules Football, they started their playoffs. And oh man, if you are hearing Aussie Rules Football for the first time, or you've only ever heard Aussie Rules Football because we talk about it every single week, and you're just wondering what the heck we're talking about, this is the week to go check out some of these games. 3 of these games were fantastic, and one was chippy, and one was a lot of fun, and one was
chippy's an understatement on that game.
And one kind of hurt Eric's feelings. Brisbane and Richmond was insane. Robert, you put in the notes, best game of the weekend. It might be the best game of the year.
Yeah.
It's the first time in Eric will know this, but probably the last 5 or 6 seasons in any of the finals that both teams scored over 100 points. Multiple lead changes. They absolutely went back and forth. This one was really fun.
Yeah, 100% sat and watched this one. I lost count after 12 lead changes. It was just nuts up and even to the last, few minutes, it was just crazy with that. Brisbane, 3 players with 3 goals apiece. Richmond with 2 players, but I was on the edge of the seat, and being a Geelong fan, I was watching this game very intently. And for it to be the leadoff game of the week, let me tell you, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, Sydney does take care of Melbourne 91-69. Very chippy contest. Great back and forth. Melbourne not eliminated because this was a qualifying final is what they call it. You have the elimination final and you have the qualifying final. So Sydney now is in the final 4. Melbourne's going to have to work their way back. Geelong also in the final 4. It got a little scary there for your team, but they do hold on and defeat Collingwood 78-72. Some fantastic goals in that one too.
Yeah, 100%. I think the big thing for me in this game, your favorite player, Tom Hawkins, only 1 goal on 2 kicks. That's the thing. Collingwood held him to just 2 kicks, which was unbelievable. But it was the first quarter for the Cats all season long has been their toughest one. Fourth quarter was just crazy, outscoring Collingwood. Geelong did 26-3. So great fourth quarter, but they got to get a little bit from Tom Hawkins if they want to keep this big winning streak going.
And we'll just go through this really quickly. But Western led by 41 points and lost to Fremantle 73-60. Sorry, Eric, but the Western Bulldogs have been eliminated. So we are down to 6 teams. Your first game is on Friday at 2:50 a.m. So have fun with that, or wait a few hours. It'll be on there and you can watch they're really good about 12 hours later, putting the full game on their website. You just kind of have to sneak around scores if you don't want to be spoiled. But Melbourne versus Brisbane will be the first game. The winner will take on the Geelong Cats in the final 4. And then Saturday at 2:25 a.m. it'll be Collingwood versus Fremantle, and the winner will get Sydney in the final 4. Out of these 2 games, sir, who wins?
The way that Brisbane's been playing over the last few weeks and Melbourne's fleeking the other way, I'm going to lean that way. I'm going to lean towards Brisbane. I'm going to take that one. Fremantle defeated one of the lower scoring games. I think Collingwood's just too tough. So I'm going to take Brisbane, and I'm going to take Collingwood.
It's tough to not take Brisbane after that crazy game, but they were kind of slumping at the end. And I did take Melbourne to try to challenge Geelong and I would love to see that match. So I'm going to take Melbourne here just because I want to see that Melbourne-Geelong game the week later. And as far as Collingwood and Fremantle, Collingwood's the better team. Fremantle's the one that won. That's what the AFL playoffs are so much fun. But give me Collingwood in that one.
Yeah, and I just looked at right now, FS1, FS2 have not posted games yet, so I don't know if they're going to have them on.
They've got to be on there.
You would think so. Right now, they're not up there. Make sure you check your local listings for stations.
And then we will end this show with some NASCAR talk. The Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington, the first race in the playoffs, and it was won by a non-playoff driver. Eric Jones became the 17th different winner this season. He held off Denny Hamlin late in that race. So nice to see Eric Jones get in the winner's circle, just a week too late for him. Chase Elliott wrecked about a third of the way through. Kyle Larson struggled. All the playoff drivers had bad days. Kevin Harvick's car just burst into flames. That was a wild sight if you want to go check out that. Martin Truex Jr. all of a sudden lost his power steering and then had overheating issues, and he ended up not being able to finish. He goes out with about 30 laps to go. And then there's a wreck with about 25 laps to go in this race. Kyle Busch has been dominating the whole day. Under caution, his motor blows. When you're not pushing your car at all and it's just kind of hanging out while you're making a couple laps while they clean up the track, out goes his motor and out goes Kyle Busch. And Darlington was the loudest it had been the entire race as they cheered for Kyle Busch going out of the race. So there's 2 races left in this first round. Still nobody has automatically put themselves into the round of 12. It's going to be really interesting with Kansas, and then Bristol's going to be a lot of fun as far as NASCAR goes. But it's a pretty wild way to start your playoffs, having a non-playoff driver win.
Yeah, I did not get to watch any of that, but I kind of agree with Chris Ban. Real racing, I don't know. I'm a NASCAR fan, but he likes the quarter mile. We gotta have to.
Well, he can go watch Fast and the Furious 9 or whatever it is. How many aren't there now? I'm a few behind. That's how to say that.
If you haven't had a chance, make sure you go and watch the bands when they race quarter mile. They do an unbelievable job out there racing and all that. It's going to be an interesting finish to the NASCAR season. I think it's going to be. It's a nuts finish. I love the new format of how they do their playoffs.
I'm not the biggest fan, but it does create drama, and especially with the new car out there and a lot of people having issues with it. It just creates drama, and that's the fun part of it. But that's going to do it now for this show. I want to thank Dimitri Morales for coming on and teasing us a little bit for this training session that we're going to have to go through. If you missed it at the beginning of the show, it's coming. There's just a lot of schedules to work through to find a good time for them to torture us up there at Martial Arts America. It's going to happen. Again, thank you to Cassidy Nelson for coming on the show. LCSC Volleyball has their first home game on Friday. I will have the call there. You can check that out at lcwarriors.com. And I think on klcz.com, they're still working through their stuff. So I'm not 100% sure if we will be starting on there or not. Lewiston and Clarkston have their big rivalry game on Friday. Robert will be the PA over there, not being a homer at all, I'm sure. And Moscow will be at Pullman, another good rivalry. So go support local high school football. Go support local high school sports. Volleyball is going on right now. Soccer is going on right now. I know there's some golf events going on as well. Cross country's getting going. I know my son in junior high has his first meet Saturday morning.
Tomorrow, kickoff things. Maybe you need to be at Adams Field tomorrow. Cover the Lincoln Lancers taking on the Sacagawea Braves. We hit the field for the first time this year, so it'll be.
I'm sure Chase will want to go watch that one.
It'll be interesting there. So with that one, so
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead. One more thing. Shout out to a former Clarkson Bantam, Clarkson graduate, Caden Frazier. North Star Athletic Association Player of the Week after going 26 of 45 for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns in his 29-6 victory last week.
All right, fantastic job. 98 episodes in the book. 99 next week. Robert Hagan will not be here, so we reach out to some of you to try to come help me out for episode 99. Maybe we'll just kind of have a rotating door. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll make something work next week, and then in 2 weeks, episode 100. We gotta do something a lot of fun. We gotta get Alicia on. We gotta get like Denny on. We gotta get some good people on. We're gonna have a lot of fun for episode 100. But that's it. I gotta get to work. But I had a lot of fun with you guys. So many comments today. It made this episode fly by. So I appreciate each and every one of you. But until next week, that's Robert. I'm Randy. This is the R&R Sports Report, and we are